Welcome. We'll give everyone a second to pile in as Billy forgets to click the camera. So those of you who came in right away got to see us looking confused at the camera.
What?
Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's Billy and Larissa from cruisehabit.com. Sorry about the camera being weird. I keep hoping that's just going to fix itself.
Yeah.
Needs more light. Oh. No? Okay.
Is that better somehow? No.
No, I don't think it was. So yeah, sorry about the weird camera. We'll just pretend you have your glasses off until I figure out what's going on over here, and we'll go from there. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I know I had not nearly as productive as a weekend as I should have. That's why there's not new content on the site, but we have a new video up. But before the weekend concluded, I did want to just come in and talk ship with everyone, hang out, have a casual chat. I've got a list of a couple topics to discuss, including some things with Crystal Cruises that people aren't talking about. People are talking about Crystal, but not this. And as well as some updates on protocols and some cruise habit stuff. So yeah, just want to keep it casual. If you guys have questions, jump in at any point. Thoughts, if anyone's sailing soon, I want to hear about it. We got off a ship 8 days ago, and we don't have another one booked for another couple weeks. And I don't like that more than that. Katie, good evening to you as well. By the way, if you're watching here on YouTube, this is also happening on Facebook. Make sure you like us on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, well, it's also on YouTube. Subscribe there. It's also on Twitter. I don't think anyone watches there.
That's everyone.
But so we'll kick it off by talking about Crystal Cruises. Now, the very basic news update that many of you may have seen, but not all of you perhaps, has to do with Crystal Cruises ceasing operation, really. And I'm hating seeing myself so blurry. Ceasing operation, really. And there are a couple things. The basic story there is they're owned by a company called Genting, a big Hong Kong company that owns resorts, hotels, casinos, as well as a couple cruise lines. In fact, Crystal being one of them. And Genting has had financial trouble for a while. COVID certainly didn't help that. And now, well, they're out of money. So Crystal announced that they're going to cease operating until May. I think they said River until after May. I'll be honest, I don't really see that returning, at least in the way it is today. I think that's extremely optimistic of them. But who knows? There are a lot of possibilities. They could figure something out. Someone could buy them. Someone could buy off the ships. Things should be parted out. Someone could just buy the name, any combination. We just don't know. I'm not here to talk about that part of it. What's interesting is what happened today. And what happened today with Crystal relates to Genting basically not paying the gas bill. Crystal Symphony, one of their ships, owed some company a bunch of money for fuel. So what can happen in circumstances like this, and it's happened with cruise lines in the past, sometimes because there were financial trouble, sometimes it's because somebody just wasn't paying a bill, is those fuel companies or other debtors will go through the proper legal channels, and they will get essentially an arrest warrant issued for a ship, which means that a country can seize the ship until the bill is paid. Well, that is the case in the United States. There's a warrant to seize Crystal Symphony if she comes into the United States because of that fuel bill. Well, Crystal Symphony was supposed to be in Miami yesterday or today, I don't remember, to end her last cruise and her very last cruise, unfortunately, because of the Genting financial troubles. But instead, she went to Bimini. Now, Bimini is only about 42 miles from Port Miami and is not in the United States. So I guess they thought that would buy them some time, because it's not going to change the circumstance. It's not going to bring the company, it's not going to bring Genting into solvency or anything like that, so because they're just trying to buy time. And that maybe it did, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how the day ends. But one of the reasons Bimini, yes, is close to Genting also owns Bimini World Resort, the big hotel and casino there in Bimini, as well as the ferry that runs between Bimini and Fort Lauderdale. So all those guests earlier today took a ferry to Fort Lauderdale and to come back to the United States, and then they had arranged transportation to Miami and Fort Lauderdale airports. Golly, is the upper end cruise industry too big? Too many lines for the market? I don't think that's the case. Traditionally, high-end lines have done really, really well maintaining
Yeah.
high occupancy. Interestingly, even though they tend to charge more because they're in the high end of the market, they have different margin considerations because with smaller ships, their operational efficiency is very poor. You look at a newer build that carries a lot of people, like an Oasis class ship. You have much better margins there, or much better profit opportunity, because it's a more efficient ship and the per passenger efficiency is fantastic, right? So upmarket, even though their margins may be lower or just calculate out differently, they've traditionally done okay. In fact, we've actually seen some new upmarket cruise lines introduced recently, and I'm
Yeah.
blanking on the name of the most recent one. Gene sailed and had a great time, and if he watches this later, he's gonna make fun of me for forgetting.
He's gonna yell at it this week.
I apologize to
I
that
don't
company.
remember either.
A high-end expedition line, and then you have Viking, you have Regent, Oceana, Azamara, Silversea, Ponant. There are so many more that many of us haven't even heard of. So I don't think it's that. Genting has been in trouble for a long time, and this
Yeah.
just didn't help. So here's what's interesting. I'll give you two things that are interesting. Can I rank falafel on all ships?
Hi, Matt.
Listen, I've said some very nice things about Carnival, some of their like quick options, like their Blue Iguana Cantina, like the
Yes.
best Mexican
Really
casual.
good. Yeah.
Horrible falafel.
Yeah.
So they're at the bottom.
Hi, Brandon.
So here's the part of the Genting and Crystal Cruises thing, the two things that people aren't talking about. One of them is, and I like keeping things light, but this is just really interesting to me. Imagine getting off that ship today. Imagine you are a guest on Crystal Symphony today, and it's the last day of your cruise, but it's the last day ever for that line. There is no, hey, hope we see you again, sail with us again soon. When's your next cruise with us? There's none of that. There's no rush to turn around the rooms,
Yeah.
right? Usually there's that big rush to re-clean, turn over the rooms, get everything set for embarking guests. There's none of that. And the crew probably understandably not in the best of spirits. So that's a really unusual situation. Just imagine, it's more like a the end of a train ride or something. Just like, all right, we're here, everyone off.
We're speculating, right? Like, we haven't talked to anybody who was on the ship, and we're not on.
Yeah,
the
if you
ship,
know
but
anyone that would like to talk to me
yeah,
about that, I'd just
would
be very
really
curious.
interesting. Yeah.
So that's one thing, is the personal
Yeah.
element for those crew members. Think about the uncertainty there for those crew members. So that stinks.
Yeah.
Kind of end of an era, potentially. Crystal has a quite the legacy. We'll see what happens. Who knows?
Yeah.
Some
Like you
other
said, they
blogger
might
was
come
live.
back.
Sure was
Was
sure
it
was nobody
Matt?
good or important.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Did Matt just have a live? We honestly didn't know. Sorry.
So that's one thing.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you how there's a connection between the Crystal thing and Virgin Voyages. There's one other cruise line that has used beach resort at Bimini that is not Virgin. Virgin says it's their exclusive destination. It is when they're in port, and they brand it there, and they have different amenities and stuff. But there is another cruise line that has used it, and that is Crystal, because, like I said, Genting owns Crystal. Genting owns Bimini World Resort. So now I don't know what's going to happen to Bimini World Resort. It'll continue operating by somebody. It's a very desirable property.
Yeah.
And I suspect that whoever keeps operating it, if it's sold off or there's some reorganization, I can't imagine in the short to medium run that anything's going to change with that agreement at Virgin. But it's very interesting that Virgin, on each itinerary, is now visiting a property owned by this company that is insolvent. We'll see what happens there. Again, I don't actually suspect anything materially will change, but we'll see. Is the food as good as we make it seem? Depends on the ship. I'm always very honest about.
I don't know if he was asking specifically. Were you asking specifically about his ship, Jason? Or
it depends on the line. I'm always food is very subjective, but I'm always honest when I love or hate things.
Oh, and Brandon has
Brandon says Cruise Habit should purchase Silversea ship for world headquarters and continuous group cruises. Brandon, if you can just start with some seed money.
Yeah.
Gonna need a lot of zeros in that seed money. Then I think we could take that on.
Wait,
So
Silver Seas is
Silversea, it's the luxury line owned
yeah, I
by
know it. Are they selling?
Royal Caribbean Group.
They're
No,
selling
no, no.
ships.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay,
no.
sorry.
We're just being goofy.
Okay, I was like, we're talking about crystals, and now I'm confused. What happened?
Jason, best for food. Listen, it's all highly subjective. Out of the non-luxury lines, I'd say Virgin
We
has my
really
vote for
love
food right now.
Virgin. Yeah, honestly, and a lot of it. I mean, again, like food's really subjective, so a lot of it is they just have a ton of vegetarian options. So we love
Fair.
that. Yeah,
Um,
and very well like.
Hey there, Scott
executed
Lara.
also.
Philip,
Good for Laura.
speculation? Yes, very much speculation on all this. Like I
Yeah.
said, people hadn't talked about the one, the human element of the crystal thing, two, the why they terminated the sailing in Bimini, and three, just that random trivia kind of Virgin connection thrown in there. But yeah, speculation. Just here to talk, be casual today. So that's some stuff all about crystal. Very weird turnaround. Well, not turnaround, termination day for those guests and crew. There is actually one other property in the Caribbean. Now, Genting is a Hong Kong company, but a Chinese, mainland Chinese company that has a property that is also in a questionable state. And that is, I forgot the name of the developer. It's 3 words, but there's a Chinese development company that owns the British Colonial Hilton in Nassau. And it was recently announced by Hilton they are not renewing the agreement with that property. And that's because really the company didn't keep it up. Ratings have been going down. And that's unfortunate. The property's been there, golly, since like the 30s or something.
Yeah.
Someone will buy that and start
Hopefully,
running right. And I look forward. I look forward to that. Yeah. Again, prime property. Whatever happens on the business end, it's not going away. Brandon got the lines confused. You have a few pesos from your last time in cause.
Wow. Okay. Brandon's had a few.
Brandon, that's fine. I'm sure you know what. It's not because you have a bar at your house. So yeah, it's interesting. Just like I said, mentioning another property in question, the British Colonial Hilton. I remember going there as a kid. I don't even remember who operated then. Hilton's only it's only been affiliated with Hilton for about 15 years, I think. So other stuff to talk about. I'll mention this one just as a shameless plug, because I was talking about that Virgin relationship. If you haven't seen, our next group cruise is going to be on Virgin Voyages, Scarlet Lady, July 3rd. Would love for you guys to come join us. We just completed the first group cruise on Celebrity Apex. It was a fantastic time. Got to throw in a bunch of value adds there. Looking forward to seeing what we can do for everyone who joins us on that. If you're interested, please head over to Virgin Voyages Group Cruise. .com. We've got some information over there, and we'll get that updated in the coming days with more details as that comes together. But I would love to see you guys on board, and we can all check out Terminal V, which is opening in just a couple weeks. Virgin Voyages to Bespoke Terminal in Port Miami, February 13th will be that opening day. End of plug there. Let's talk some protocol stuff. It's hard for even me to keep track of, but there were a couple interesting things that happened recently with protocols. China State Construction Engineering Corp. Thank you, Brandon.
Awesome.
I appreciate you being my Googler here. Jason, we've not done Viking River. We've not done any river. Ironically, we're looking at a crystal cruise that may have ended up being a river cruise right before the pandemic. And I guess that ship, as they say, has sailed.
Oh.
Yeah. So let's talk protocols for a moment. Again, constantly changing. There's a couple new things announced, and just some things I noticed. One announced is that Carnival Cruise Line said their policies are now indefinite. They've extended them indefinitely. Remember, indefinite doesn't mean forever. It just means they don't have a termination date. So don't expect Carnival to change their policy soon. They're, all persons who can be vaccinated have to be vaccinated. They do testing a couple days before. They did tack on 2 new things, though. One for short sailings, I believe 3 and 4 nights to start with. We'll see if it goes from there. They're going to be testing at the port, or offering an option at least to test at the port. And 2 is that they signed on to use Verifly. There are certain companies that will look at vaccination records, kind of validate cards or paper records, but also look at certain databases that have that information to corroborate the information. And Carnival signed on to use Verifly for this. I've been surprised since day one that none of the lines were using Clear for this, because Clear also has a service to do that. In fact, Virgin used Clear for a media event for that, and I thought, oh, they're going to use them
it
for
makes so much sense.
cruising.
Yeah,
They haven't. But I think I need to write to Royal. I suspect Royal is doing something, because now in the app, when you upload your vaccine card for Royal or Celebrity sailings, it doesn't just store it, it actually goes into a reviewing status. So someone's doing that. I don't know how they're doing that. Brandon, Carnival is indeed limiting capacity. And I don't remember what their numbers are at right now. Capacity limits almost don't matter at the moment, though. One, there's still some hesitancy out there. 2, some people are unable to cruise. And 3, that most people book a cruise a year or 2 out, but a lot of these sailings haven't even been on the books for but a few months, so they haven't had opportunities to book them.
Yeah, it's interesting, because as much as, like, even if a ship is sailing at whatever the limited capacity is now, you wouldn't hear much of people that were trying to book a sailing and it was already sold out at capacity, you think? Or is
so here, I'll give you a fine example. We're on MSC Meraviglia a few months ago. They were at like 30%. Well, I guarantee you they weren't capping 30% on that sailing. Similarly on Apex.
Which Brenda just got off of Apex yesterday. She said up here before that goes away. Yeah, I know. I'm
Brenda,
jealous.
we were on the sailing right before you. Had a fantastic sailing. I hope you did as well. Color Radio. I think there were a number of virologists and others, private and at the government, saying 80 to 90% of people in many areas will have had some sort of infection. At very least, you have to make sure things stay mild and stay slow. You don't want it to happen all at once, like we kind of had happening a couple weeks ago, because we saw how much that can impact not only the cruise industry but everything.
Yeah, possibly.
So. Brandon, just remember some very crowded Carnival sailings. Carnival, you know what? Now, Carnival was capping at the time. I don't know if they've changed. I don't want to tell anyone the wrong thing. I also just realized why the camera's not in focus. I think I have fixed focus turn on. So you're just going to have to scoot up if you want to be unblurry. So Carnival was capping at 70%. I don't know if that's changed. Again, all numbers have been lower because of, just all the crazy circumstances. So Brenda brings up, cruising is, if you're Canadian right now, is tricky for so many reasons, and we could do an entire hour discussion on this, ranging from re-entry policies in Canada to how long cruise lines are willing to pay for your accommodations if you on land if you come back with an infection and you're quarantined. And getting insurance being difficult. It's very, very tricky. I think something's going to have to give with that situation soon. However, I, like many others, said that about Australia a while ago. I hope it gets easier for you guys, sincerely. It's tricky. Kim, who was on the Apex Group cruise with us. Yay. Hello, Kim. I've heard anything about Grand Cayman, whether they might open up to ships again. You know what? That's a fantastic question that I need to get an update on. So Grand Cayman, Holland America was, I believe, supposed to be the first to call on Grand Cayman. They were doing like a trial thing with them where the government was like, hey, you can be first. Let's see how this process works and iron out all the bugs before we really open up the tap. And that's right when Omicron stuff blew up. So I don't know. In fact, let me make a note to myself. I should find that out, and just for my own knowledge, but I'll post as well. Get update on Grand Cayman. If anyone knows the answer, I'm all ears. I'm just
Brandon can look it up, maybe.
Brandon, come on. Brandon's been my Googler for years.
He has. It's so true.
The question is, they had their plans as far as what dates they were going to start allowing ships, and they had it very methodically planned out, how many and the rules, and then what was going to change over time. But Omicron changed stuff.
Matt Lepidi.
Yes. Matt, very good point. I'll be honest, I did not think that we're going to see Labadee visits just yet for several
Yeah, we
reasons.
were very
So yeah,
surprised
the
actually.
rumor is and I say rumor, but like beyond just like, oh, some guy on Facebook, it seems to be that even some captains at RCI have said, yeah, we're going to start sailing to Labadee next week or this coming week. So that's exciting news. There were issues in Labadee because of there were political issues. There were issues around COVID spread. There were a lot of things. So listen, for the sake of the locals that work there, I sincerely hope that happens. And because guests enjoy going to Labadee. I know I do. So we'll see what happens there. Brandon with the let me Google that for you link. Let's say I'm multitasking here.
We're talking to the camera. We can't go
Jason, we have done DCL, I think,
Yeah,
9 times, I believe. I think 9 times have been on DCL, and we've got one coming up in October. October, I don't know the date. We'll be on Disney Wish, which is their brand new ship, not even sailing yet. I'm excited to see what they've done because Disney hasn't done a new ship in a long time. And Jason, I know there's a bunch of Star Wars related stuff, including, I believe, a restaurant on Wish. And I know nothing about Star Wars, so I'll have to watch. You can give me a briefing on Star Wars.
It's a lot to watch.
Yeah. Need to take a long flight somewhere. Let's fly to Auckland and do that on the way.
We did like DCL a lot, Jason. We haven't been on actually in a while, but yeah, we were on like 9 times a while ago. It's a great line. It's
my elevator pitch. Disney, tell me if you agree.
Yeah.
My elevator pitch for DCL, and I know Jason's a big Disney person, is they do a great job. Especially though not exclusively if you're a Disney person. However, there are a lot of cruise lines that do great jobs, and in many categories, maybe in my opinion, a better job at like a third or quarter of the price.
Yeah, it's honestly what's kept us from going on DCL lately is that the price point.
We could take like 3 other cruises for the same.
Yeah, or go on like a luxury line, and what they have is a unique product because it's Disney, but it's not a luxury product in the way that we think of in cruising. So
now, this is speaking of segues. No, actually, speaking of pricing, let's talk something pricing for just a moment, because I actually had this in my notes to bring up. I suspect that for the next month to 3, we're going to see some crazy low prices. Even like for the Caribbean, even to where the prices would usually go crazy because of spring break. And here's why. I saw a lot of folks. Now, I always keep in mind the internet sample size fallacy of, you only see the people not complaining necessarily, but just speaking out if there is a change. I get that. But there are a lot of people that a couple weeks ago, when it was unclear what the future was with Omicron, when policies were changing, when there were a lot of bad headlines out there. I talked about those on the Today Show a couple weeks ago. Check that out. It was unclear what was going on. A lot of people said, I'm canceling my cruise for January, February, March. Now, I was on Facebook and on message boards going, why? No. You have up to you can cancel like 3 days before and get a cruise credit. Why would you cancel now? Wait to see what's going to happen. Now, sometimes they may have had airlines, with different cancellation policies, though they've been more flexible as well. But a lot of people just did it. They panicked, they canceled. And I started seeing people already saying, yeah, I shouldn't have canceled that cruise. Well, that means you're going to have space that's needing to be filled, even more space than there already was. As now, interestingly, we're getting some new tonnage out. We've got Valiant Lady and Resilient Lady coming out. Valiant Lady first. We've got, I almost said Disney, Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas. We're going to be on that in March.
Oh, and even
probably March 4th.
Prices have changed a bit too lately. I always say that it's like their price point now, but really it's before COVID. What it was at was
it's still
to the point that we felt like it was extremely high. Yeah, it's still high, but it's better than it was before. So.
Can you give an overall comparison between Celebrity and Princess and any favorite Princess ship? You're always on Celebrity. I will tell you, I'll happily share my comparison and thoughts on Princess. It's hard for me to give you a favorite because Princess is actually, I've cruised 15 cruise lines and Princess was number 15, not in ranking, but in order that I sailed them. We just sailed over Thanksgiving and it was our very first.
Which is really weird. It was a meaning to for a long time.
We were on Sky Princess. Condensing it down, I'll tell you, I have a live blog posted every day, so you should check that out over on
Yeah.
cruisehabit.com, the Sky Princess live blog. But condensing it down, my overall view is that Celebrity is I'll say, more contemporary, a slightly higher end product and a more modern product. Princess is a bit more traditional, though they do a lot of interesting things with technology on board, some of which I really like. You'll see that in the live blog.
Yeah.
And the way that I would define Princess, if one word to describe Princess, would be relaxing. There are definitely things about it that are more legacy, that feel a little bit more. It's almost like if cruising 20 years ago, it took the innovations of today, but some of the stylings back from them.
Or from then.
Uh,
It is really interesting.
it's got a much less modern decor.
Yeah.
Not that it's old or not well maintained. No, it was absolutely beautiful.
Well, yeah, it's totally new.
It's just
like everything
very
looks
different
great, but
decor than Celebrity.
It feels, I don't know. I don't want to say dated because I feel like that's like a overly negative
certainly
term.
more traditional.
It's more traditional. Yeah.
But you know what? I think overall, I found the service to be absolutely fantastic. Very, very relaxing, extremely pretty. I think their pool decks and their open decks are maybe the most tranquil looking that I've seen. I really liked it. So we enjoyed it. Do I think Celebrity compared to Princess is a better fit for us personally? However, I'm not hesitating to go on Princess again. Who knows? We might be on it in a few weeks. Anything could happen.
Brenda, it wasn't an old crowd at all, actually, which is interesting. Well, I don't know. Everything's kind of weird right now, right? Because like after COVID, and that was our first sampling of it. But I feel like the age range was not like as old as I had expected.
No, I mean it's skewed older than some Celebrity sailings, but you know, as you've probably seen on Celebrity, depends on time of year and length of voyage and luck. But yeah, you know, across the industry, sure, they I wouldn't be surprised if they on average skewed older than Celebrity.
Well, there were also, I mean, they do have children on their ships sometimes too. It's just on this sailing there were no kids because of
that's true. Right now,
vaccination
Princess, like
and
Holland
also,
America, one of their sister lines, is not allowing anyone who's not vaccinated, even
if they're too young to be vaccinated. So that was kind of on Thanksgiving when we went. It was still, I don't think they had enough time for the full inoculation for children between 5 and 12, right? So there was like 0 kids on board. So that also makes averages change a little bit. So
which made it all the better for us. Shannon Ford, hello. Upgraded from an ocean view to a balcony on Odyssey during spring break and saved $500. Awesome, Shannon. Yeah, we've had some fantastic sailings now. So Annette, who runs Touring Plans Travel and is also my personal travel agent, now every time she emails me, I get so excited because I'm just like, "Ooh, is it a price drop or an upgrade opportunity?" And then it's usually something like, you know, "Hey, just a reminder, you were supposed to follow up a Celebrity because you left your socks in a drawer in your suite." I'm like, "Oh yeah." But we've seen a lot of great news in terms of pricing and upgrades, and that's it's a thing of the times. I don't know how long that'll continue. I welcome it for all of us that get to reap those benefits for as long as it goes on. And that's certainly a reason that having a travel agent can help a lot, because a good agent will help keep an eye on those for you, and even has some automated ways of doing that. Because if you have one cruise and you want to keep checking, you can do that. It's a little annoying, but if you have several, trust me, it's a lot. So I appreciate Annette and the folks at Touring Plans Travel for doing that for us, and I believe for you, Shannon. Sorry, scrolling over monitors way far on the right here. Let's bring this over here so I look more toward the camera.
Yeah.
Brenda, first was Holland. It was great, but too quiet. So yeah, Holland America is definitely on the quieter side of things. Though I will say now, in the last few years, as they've evolved, first they're like Dancing with the Stars. Now their music program is so cool. Definitely more of a quiet ship than a lot of other lines, no question. But their music program, if you want to cruise for live music, man, Holland America
was really happening. Like it was.
It just cuts off a little
quiet. I mean, earlier than Virgin, but like when you say quiet, it makes it sound like it's like during the day, it's more relaxed atmosphere. It's not a lot of like stuff going on by the pool or whatever. But the nightlife, like kind of musical performances, the dueling pianos thing that they do, the 2 venues, like. There were a lot of people dancing until pretty late.
I particularly like the Pinnacle class ships, the newer ships, New Rotterdam, New Amsterdam. or New Tottenham, no, New Tottenham, Rotterdam, Koningsdam.
Oh, they don't do
because
Dancing with the Stars anymore.
No,
No.
However, there's still
a
ton of really impressive
entertainment. It's not like
I was going to say dancers just among the
oh
passengers.
yeah.
I think because they got some passengers like on board with the
Yeah.
brand because of Dancing with the Stars, and now you see just like
Like
you'll
those
see like
ballroom groups
BB King was it BB King All Stars.
Yeah.
One of their music programs, amazing live jazz performances with big bands, and then you see people dancing out front, and just like, wow, do they work here?
No,
Like, nope.
they just like brought their own ballroom shoes and they're dancing. Yes. It's really fun. Actually.
Annette is the best. She's so patient with me.
Yeah.
Annette's been patient with me for almost as long as Larissa's been patient with me. So if one of them, if either of them leaves, it's a real bellwether for me. Brandon loves Touring Plans Travel. If anyone here wants to work with Touring Plans Travel, same fantastic people that plan all of our trips. They keep our every cruise every 3 weeks and my constant questions and changes straight. You can fill out the purple form over on cruisehabit.com, and they will get back to you with a personalized quote and communicate however you want to communicate. Some people like calls, some people like Zoom, some people like email, some people like text. That's one of the nice things about working with a good agent. Brandon, you mentioned you like Celebrity for being relaxing. Think you'd like Princess. I think you would like Princess, Brandon. However, I don't know what you'd prefer. I think there's a level of familiarity that you get at Celebrity because you're familiar, because you're a royal cruiser, that you wouldn't necessarily get a Princess. Not that it'd be a confusing thing for you.
Yeah, I don't know
at all. There's only one way to solve this, Brandon. That's an experiment.
You should try.
Let's plan sometime later this year. We're going to do a Celebrity together, and then the very next week we'll just
we have to do it side by side just so that we know.
Over to a Princess ship
so that it's fresh in our memory.
Fill out the survey for
me. So Brenda, they do have a piano bar on Princess ships. It's a jazz club where there's
on some
like
of the ships. On
the one we're on Sky. Jazz on 5 was the venue.
Is that or was that the venue on Royal Caribbean? No, a lot of these ships start to have similar sounding
Jazz on
venues.
5. No,
I just realized I'm not putting any of the comments on the screen. My apologies, guys.
Take 5.
There we go.
Yeah, Jazz on 5.
I forgot to put comments up on screens. I should be doing that. For those watching the replay, really, it's good to hear. On Apex, you would have liked a piano room or something.
Well, she was referring to the dueling pianos thing in Holland America, but she had also asked about a Princess.
So you know what's on Apex? I have been on where there's been somebody playing more frequently. The piano that's over at the in the Grand Plaza. On our recent Apex sailing, I loved Soundtrack, but there wasn't like a piano player there. But I get what you're saying, like a piano bar would be neat. By the way, Grand Plaza, speaking of that, is going to be different on Celebrity Beyond, the 3rd Edge class ship, and we've got some news about Celebrity Beyond coming out soon. We'll go with soon. I don't know exactly when. Brandon, I don't know what you missed, but Larissa will show up if you make Earth.
Where's Jason had a question about it. He asked what line was our favorite. What cruise line?
Oh, you know what? Also, I saw 2, Jason. I missed a few things here. Let me go back
I had a few
here.
Questions earlier, so let's see. They were good. I'm
just going back and grabbing the ones that I forgot to grab. Katie, hoping your March 14th cruise on Independence goes off without difficulty. Listen, by March 14th, I'm not going to tell you, it'll go perfectly smoothly. I think odds are it will, right? But like, as we've all seen, a lot can change in a month. So back in early November, it was like, oh man, this is like pretty much back to normal, depending on the line. You just have slightly different precautions. Like everything's great. And then, there was this uncertainty in December and January. We sailed 2 weeks ago. Everything went great. We sailed 4 weeks ago. Everything went great.
Honestly.
But then, so by March, who knows what the rules will be. Stay tuned. Click the like and subscribe, and you'll stay up to date with whatever those changes
all
are.
The protocols or anything. I don't think it's been a lesser experience in any way. Like we've really enjoyed our time. And again, that's subjective. It depends on
it depends on what exactly. But certainly I agree. I don't feel like there's been any compromise to our recent
not for us,
sailings. I'll agree. That's what I missed. I missed another one. I missed Jason Peterson. Hello from your hot tub, braving the 45-degree temperatures. Yeah, you guys have a cold. What's the temperature outside? Jason's in Central Florida. Let's see. I will just tease those of you in far off lands. 53 degrees.
But it feels so cold here
outside right now.
Like,
here.
man,
It says feels like 49
because we don't have our heater on because it feels silly.
It's also our heater doesn't really do anything. It's kind
of
of a warm breath,
and it makes it smell
about
like
it.
burning.
Let's see. Benjamin can't wait to hear about Beyond. You're booked later this year. Benjamin, when are you booked on? When are you booked on Beyond? And Brenda booked in November. Maybe we'll be on board in November. Maybe with some news. I don't know. Stay tuned. But I'm curious when all of you guys are booked. If I'll go with another shameless plug, but this one with real reasons for you. If you are sailing or looking to sail Beyond in November, make sure it is with or transfers to touring plans, because there could be some special stuff coming out. Do you think that Allure will ever get her amplification? Listen, the Oasis class ships, I suspect, will have a longer tenure on the seas than almost any cruise ship. I say almost because Disney, as far as like primary market, because Disney's really pushing it, but their ships are in great condition. So, when will that happen? Will there be a new revitalization project called something else by then? I don't know, but I have little doubt, and I have high confidence that there will be some significant revitalization to Allure. What happened, for those who don't know, is Allure was scheduled for amplification revitalization. COVID things happened, then restart, didn't have time, money. It'll happen. Don't know when. Brandon says it is cold in compact fluorescent lights. Interesting, Brandon. Central Florida.
Central Florida. He also said Kathy's waving at us, so wave to Kathy. Hi, Kathy.
I feel like now we're just doing visual effects with the camera. I really should have fixed the focus thing.
Yeah, the focus is so bad.
Randy Ruddle, hello. So glad you guys are here. Have I missed anything else? If I missed anything, please do respond. I apologize, I wasn't doing a chat.
So the question that I had seen from Jason earlier that I don't know if you're ever going to find was just, what's your favorite cruise line?
It's hard to say. It honestly depends on where I'm sailing, who I'm sailing with, why we're sailing. Celebrity is a good middle ground line for us. That's why we do it so much. But man, Virgin
wanted to
is
give
really...
a mention to Celebrity because you mentioned, because we were talking about food and you said which one has the best food. We were really blown away by Virgin, but we also, one of our favorites for food is Celebrity as well. And Oceania also has
it's the cruise I'm looking for, the cruise experience I'm looking for when we sail Oceania is different than when we sail Celebrity, is different when we sail Royal or NCL. So it's not a cop out to say I don't necessarily have a favorite. We just have the ones that we tend to go to. And Celebrity lately has been the big one, and now Scarlet Lady. I mean, she's only been sailing for a little while, and we've been on 3 times, and we've got 2 more coming up, including the July 3rd group cruise on Scarlet Lady. VirginVoyagesGroupCruise.com. Come sail with us. Bill, have we ever sailed out of New Orleans? No, we have not. We've not sailed out of New Orleans, nor have we sailed to New Orleans. The cruise that I want to do is Celebrity. Most years during Jazz Fest does a cruise out of, I forget whether it leaves from here or from Tampa, and then does like 3 overnights. During Jazz Fest. I think that would be super cool.
That would be so cool. I've looked into just going to Jazz Fest before, and its accommodations can be really tricky. It's like hard to find a hotel. A lot of people stay in RV parks and stuff because it just is crowded and expensive. So I think from the comfort of a ship and being able to also go to the
retreat sounds better than an RV park.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Brandon, hope Allure AMP doesn't happen for a while for the boardwalk. Remember, depending on what guest feedback is, the amplification doesn't necessarily mean those things. Who knows? Because I agree with you. I like the bar there in the boardwalk of Oasis class ships, now just Allure, and Ultimate Abyss does nothing for me. I'm glad it's there for people who want it, but we'll see. As you may experience if you check out, for example, another Solstice class ship. Not all ships in the same class end up with the same features, even when they're revitalized, because you may still want some fleet differentiation there. Ashley, going to be on Beyond December 4th, 2022. I'm so excited for Beyond. There's so many. I have a short video on YouTube talking about the differences. I'm sure there will be more differences because they haven't even announced everything yet. When we sailed on Apex, we found differences from Edge that weren't even announced or clear. But Beyond is some big differences, and I can't wait.
I'm very excited as well.
Did I spend any time at Craft Social on Apex? Loved on Silhouette. Not nearly as much time as expected. And that's a couple reasons. One, there's just so much to check out and to do. As you know, it's easy to miss a spot even when you like a ship. The
We
other
liked
is
it,
there were
though.
some big sporting events going on during our sailing. And
Oh, yeah.
Brandon knows I don't know which ones because I don't pay attention. But to those of you who don't, I don't sports. But there were some big football games of some sort, and it just got very crowded in there. So one, I wasn't interested in watching the game, and two, given Omicron and stuff, like I felt very comfortable on the ship, but I also didn't want to go into the tiniest bar with the most amount of people. So
They
I
had a nice mixed drink that I got there when we met up with Annette on one of the nights.
it was
at Craft
interesting that they had a
Social.
unique
They had a
craft
cool
cocktail menu.
Yeah,
Because you think Craft Social, they're big into beers, which they
there
have
were a lot.
a massive menu.
Amazing
I
menu.
felt like the menu of beers at Craft Social on Apex, even though it's a smaller venue, was larger than the menu of beers at Craft Social on Equinox.
I think you're right.
I could be wrong, but
Yeah,
I
I
got
think
that
you're right.
impression. I have to go
There
back.
were a lot. It was an impressive selection of beer as well. But I don't remember what the drink was that they made me. But they also had like a nice cocktails specific to that venue.
Look,
Nice selection.
Brenda found the same thing. Went in when it was empty. Yeah, I did some writing in there. So if you read the Apex blog and one or two other things that I think I wrote or worked on a video or something from a week and a half ago, that was written there.
Yeah, it's a nice place, and we were there for a little bit before dinner. The one night when there wasn't.
I like that they
maintain
maintain similar to on Equinox in that venue. They maintain kind of a almost like a living room kind of feel.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. It was a relaxing place to be.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nicer than the casino bar is kind of the equivalent to it on Edge, or it's what's in that space because I guess there's no wall.
Right. Yeah.
So
on Edge. So actually, I'll tell you
yeah.
guys a quick story, and if Andrew Ford watches this replay, then he will hear. So Andrew Ford was on Apex several weeks ago, and he said something about there not being a casino bar. I said, well. Said it's Craft Social, it's right there connecting the casino. He said it doesn't connect to the casino. I was like, dude, what are you talking about? Of course it connects to the casino. Because on the initial deck plans, they showed it just like Edge, where you just walk right through. There's like a big, like triple size doorway that you walk through from there to the casino. And on the initial deck plans, it showed that door was there, but it wasn't in practice. So I thought he was crazy. He thought I was crazy.
The ship there's a wall there, so it doesn't. It's not it's in the same location as the casino bar on Edge,
and it's still next to it, so they still use it.
Yeah, they use it as a service bar for the casino.
Brandon, yes, on Silhouette, it's I believe Craft Social on Silhouette is the same size as Craft Social on Equinox, which it's huge. It takes up entire, is it deck 6? Deck 5, right alongside there.
You mean Craft Social on Apex?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you said Edge.
Oh, I'm sorry. So wait, let me reread.
Reread
Craft Social bigger than the one on Apex. Yes. Okay, because he's saying on Apex size. Yes.
Yeah.
Randy, are we going to be on March 4th? The answer is probably. We're indeed booked on Wonder of the Seas March 4th. I'm just waiting to get some additional information that may or may not change that. So probably.
Are you, Randy?
I was like, me? Yeah, you're going with me, Randy. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're going, then we look forward to seeing you there. Yeah. And if we're on a different one, then I will hide you a personalized duck. No, I can't personalize.
You can't personalize a duck.
What am I going to do? Put a Cruise Habit shirt on it? Maybe.
Yeah, we could make
Marissa,
a tiny
Marissa
shirt.
can do that. I can't draw or paint.
Oh, I thought you were going to sew a Cruise Habit
No casino bar on Apex was really weird. Summit has a better layout in that way. So I can't be a good judge of this. I don't spend any time in casino. As I tell people, I have nothing against gambling. I've just found so many other ways of losing money over the years. So I have no experience or opinion on it. It didn't even
I mean, they'll still bring you drinks when you're at a table or at a slot machine. So it serves as the service bar where they'll go and there's drink service in the casino. There's just no casino bar, which to me, like, we always end up hanging out at the casino bar because it's the latest bar open, and like especially on Royal and stuff like that. And it's not my favorite because then it's also like they all have smoking in the casino.
But no smoking on Celebrity.
But no smoking on Celebrity.
Even in the
so that doesn't
casino.
matter. Yeah.
Randy,
So
no
it doesn't
ducks.
make a difference.
Confession, Randy. I didn't really know what the duck thing was until
I
like
just found one
3
for
weeks
the
ago
first time ever.
on Virgin when we were like, we should look this up. Like I had a rough idea,
Yeah.
but I didn't really
I
understand.
found
Oh,
one in
there's a
Scarlet
Facebook
Lady,
group for
and
it.
I found the
All
Facebook
right.
group, and I hit him somewhere else, and I did the whole thing. I thought it was really cute. I liked it.
I'm glad. I really don't
I'm
care
a
about the
Cruising
ducks.
Ducks fan now.
You guys can keep going with the ducks. Hope you
I
enjoy.
thought it was cute.
I like this. You're lazy gamblers, obviously.
Well.
I mean, if you're that lazy, then they just know keep going. Dude. Now the real lazy gamblers are the ones, and I mean this in a loving way, are the ones on edge who sit at the bar, and much like in Vegas casinos, at the bar they have like digital blackjack and stuff, like at the bar, so you can just like sit there, drink here, and like pressing the buttons.
Yeah.
Not
Oh.
I don't know
Okay,
what you have
fine.
against former Anaheim hockey teams.
Yeah. Not a Ducks fan.
But no, I don't really care about the Cruising Ducks. But good job for those who do. Like, enjoy.
Thought it
By all
was
means.
cool.
I just realized a little bit of information that I forgot to mention earlier when we were
What's
talking
their real
about
focus?
protocols. So someone in MSC clearly listened to me, and that's why they made this change. No other reason, I'm sure. So several months ago, Virgin Voyages, MSC, NCL, I don't know if anyone else is doing it in the US at least, we're all testing at the terminal. And the reason I like that is, one, it takes the stress off looking for tests for people. I realize, by the way, yes, it costs the cruise line a little bit of money and it adds to embarkation time, but you don't have to spend time or stress looking for tests before, and it can only be more effective. Testing isn't perfect, certainly not perfect. And we can talk about all sorts of other things in that category, but if you're going to do testing as close in to embarkation as possible, right? So that's what Norwegian, MSC, NCLH company, so Oceania Norwegian, and Virgin were doing. NCL said that they were going to do away with that starting February 1st, I think, or maybe it was January 17th, something like that. NCL then said, you know what? We're going to keep doing this for now. And Virgin continues to do it, but MSC stopped doing it several months ago. Well, I haven't even read new policy on this yet, but guest sailing this weekend out of Florida on MSC reported that in addition to the required test 2 days before, they were also testing at the port of embarkation. I can tell you from our experience, MSC had that down to a science, just like everyone else has so far, that on our cruise at least. So I think that's a great thing. If you're gonna do testing, man, do the testing close in. I'm all for it. What's that? Brandon, get back to the bar. I don't want the buffer on your cable box to end, and then it starts playing and you can't rewind. And someone needs to solve for that, right? Like, think about how inexpensive storage is at this point. Why can you only pause the TV for like 15 minutes?
Yeah, go
I'm talking to you, 3 people that still have cable television. What ship has the best jazz venue?
I feel like that's a me question.
I know. I have an opinion on this already. Well, I'll give 2 answers because they're different types of things.
It might be the same as me, but go ahead.
So number one, well, they're both number one. So the first one is BB King All Stars.
Yeah.
That's not a venue necessarily, though they do have a dedicated venue on Pinnacle class ships. These are bands that are selected. They audition in front of the other band members. It's very coordinated and deliberate pick, not just like, hey, here's your new bassist. And they are just, top-notch talent, these guys. So
sorry, that was the game thing.
Brandon, we have cable. See, no insult. I mean,
oh yeah, we do.
Yeah, my dad told me my hairline was receding today.
He did tell you that today. I was like,
I'll give you that nugget, Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one, is BB King All Stars, whatever venue they're playing in. It's a dedicated venue on some ships, but not all. And the next one is Take Five, the Take Five Jazz Club. It's on Sky
amazing.
Princess, Enchanted Princess, and Discover Princess.
The cool thing about that one is it's the same venue every night, and they have like the same band, and they do different themes.
Yeah,
which
so
is really
Prohibition
cool. Like, it's
era
not
theme,
repeated.
revisiting whatever venue is really, really cool.
Yeah, they did one. Was it the Savoy one? There was one where they had like a screen in the back
Yeah,
that was showing
couldn't. I was trying to remember
photos.
what venue it was. It
Really
wasn't
cool
the
thing. It was
Savoy.
the
It
Savoy.
was.
Oh. I don't know. It was
I'll
really
remember
cool.
it, Graham. It's probably on the Sky Princess live blog post. And you know what?
I was very impressed. Yeah.
Big shout out here to the
Oh yeah, the Larry King Jazz Band.
Larry King
Jazz Trio.
Jazz Trio.
Yeah.
This is one of his albums. Larry King Dance With Me. He was in that venue. Fantastic.
Mhm.
So much so that we bought his album. We also, on that same cruise, by the way, I love that Princess still lets them sell their albums.
Yeah, they sell albums.
Most cruise lines don't, but I actually like it. Also, that's different. They didn't. We met them on a ship. Didn't perform.
No, that was really good too. The really good band from Seattle.
Cassie Matthews.
This is the singer.
She was a singer on
she's
Sky
great
Princess.
too.
So yeah, there's our
standards. She sang a lot of standards as well. That was like in the atrium usually. The band that performed. In the atrium in the evenings, and that was what was.
In
nice
short,
about Princess.
just to roll back the two answers on that. Sorry, the BB King All Stars, wherever they're performing on Holland America ships, and any of the Princess ships that have Take Five Jazz Club, which is again Sky Princess, Discovery Princess, and Enchanted Princess.
Yeah, but you'll find a lot of bands that play standards on pretty much all ships. And I feel like I haven't really. Have we sailed any ship that doesn't have like some sort of jazz band or jazz night, or whether they have a dedicated venue or not?
You're right. It's a common thing. I mean, on smaller ships, you may not, just because they're more limited opportunities.
Yeah.
But few times have I seen such dedication to the genre and the craft that there is a specific band just for jazz and in a specific venue just for jazz.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the difference.
Well, is. But the atrium band that the singer that we bought, Cassie Matthews, right?
I wouldn't describe her as jazz. I mean, she did all sorts of.
Yeah, but they did a lot of it was almost night, and the nighttime sets. It was almost always jazz standards. Yeah, that's
I'll tell you what Princess did better than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Brenda, was it you who asked? And I think Brandon also may have asked. Talking about Princess, something I try and every cruise I'm like, okay, what's their thing? And I said the word I would pick for Princess was relaxing, right? Well, I truly believe every cruise line does something better than. There's something that every cruise line does that's better than every other cruise line, and in many cases, many things. One of those things that Princess does, their atriums. Almost every cruise ship these days has some atrium, and they all want to make it a hub for entertainment. And like often it's there. It might be pretty, but like I don't know how functional it necessarily is. Carnival Mardi Gras aside, because like holy crap for function,
pretty insane.
Wow,
yeah, it's so cool.
that was amazing. But Princess. Very functional, elegant, well used. People are out there. They are having coffee, having a cocktail, having a snack.
The seating is almost open. Like you really get
watching,
that intent.
Watching the band, listening to the music, chatting with friends. They call it the piazza.
Yeah, and it is.
Ships.
I mean, if it has that feel,
man, like, better than anyone. Concept better than anyone on Princess cruises. Mm-hmm. I want to go back on Princess.
I know, me too. The more we're talking about it, I really enjoyed the cruise.
What are we doing next week?
we don't have anything till March, so
we would never book a cruise like 6 days out.
We've done it like so many times.
In the last few months, we've done it so many times. Brenda, all ships. We've only done Sky.
Yeah, and Take Five is only on Sky and
Sky, Discover, Enchanted.
Yeah, Sky Discover,
however,
Enchanted.
but the atrium that I'm talking about, the piazza, that is on all Princess ships. That is kind of a signature of theirs.
And it looks very similar from ship to ship. If you look at pictures, that's another strange thing that they do. Their ships are really similar to each other in a way that I feel like.
Yeah, it's not that they don't have
differences, but they're very the decor is like.
But the piazza is that's something they hang their hat on.
Yeah.
So you're going to find that across the
Yeah.
Princess fleet.
Sorry, yeah, she had asked about the jazz venues before, and I
Yeah.
had mentioned Princess. So yeah, that one's only on those 3
Yeah,
ships.
I like it a
Take
lot.
5. Yeah. So Jazz on 5 was on Royal. You said?
Jazz on 5 is
Or
what
that
they
is-
call it's so on. It's the space that on I think Symphony and Harmony.
Oh.
Someone's going to correct me. Is Wonderland.
Oh.
I think. Is that right, guys? Someone, I'm probably all.
So on Allure?
Well, I'm saying I'm probably wrong on all this. Right as Bill's nice enough to say, thank you guys for your great answers. I hope they're all accurate. Bill, thank you. Thank you for joining. Make sure you like and subscribe, as everyone says.
Yeah.
Please do. And if you want to cruise with us on Scarlet Lady, I know a lot of folks have talked about Scarlet Lady, and there's some apprehension. It looks different. It's new. You know, we'll hold your hand. Come with us. I will show you the world.
Oh, and actually, that's
the most singing I will ever do.
Betty,
Betty, on Oasis. So, am I right about which venue that is? The Jazz on 5 on Oasis and Allure.
Allure, so presumably, yeah.
Is that the right
I
place?
remember the name, but it must have been a ship I sailed a long time ago, which is probably
Thinking
Allure.
Dazzles on Symphony and Harmony. There's still Jazz on 4.
Oh, maybe it's Jazz on 4, not on 5. You're confusing Take 5 and Jazz on 4.
And Raw on 5. A lot of numbers. I feel like we're back in 90s rock bands.
Jazz on
Finger
4.
11.
I remember now Jazz on
Sum
4.
41.
So it still exists. And yeah, it was there was another difference, but you're right.
Below Wonderland. Look at this. I really made a mess of that answer.
You completely messed that up.
Brian, my official Royal Caribbean fact checker.
Yeah.
Brandon is my Googler. Brian is my
Where's
official.
Matt? Matt was here earlier.
Matt comes in to make it seem like he cares, and then he signs off.
Leaves immediately. Yeah. Okay.
He's probably Googling pictures of the falafel we had the other night.
Oh, true. Yeah, we got to take him to that place.
Oh man, so I like sharing. Like, it's fun when you get to meet people on a ship, right? People that you would have met otherwise. Sometimes they're guests, and sometimes they are crew or entertainers. And on the Apex sailing, we got 2 really great things that happened that way. 3 actually. One is we got to cruise with friends who were on the group cruise with us, and that was wonderful.
Amazing.
And I'll say 4 because we got to meet, like we do on most sailing. Somebody says, "Hey, your cruise habit," and I'm just like, "Oh, I hope I didn't lead you astray in some way." And usually they say thanks. But the 2 other things I'm thinking of is, one, we saw an entertainer that we befriended years ago on Celebrity. And it was
it was so awesome
seeing
her again.
It really was.
Yeah.
And especially after the long pause with COVID and everything.
Yeah, and we had gotten to the point because we sailed Edge so many times when she was on that we were seeing her like it felt like frequently, even though So yeah,
so we got to reconnect.
Really cool.
That was really great.
Yeah.
And the other thing is there was a gentleman that came on, a guest entertainer to fill a space because they had some, cruise lines are even non-COVID times. They're very agile, schedule changes. And they brought on this guy named Yaniv Zarif. Yaniv Zarif. Sorry. Yaniv Zarif. And I thought it was going to be kind of just gimmicky. As a polyglot, which I love languages. So someone speaks a whole bunch of languages. 32, I think, was his count. And he's a singer. And I'll tell you, even if this guy only spoke 1 language, he was just such an amazing vocalist and showman. He's really, really great. And he jumps on a bunch of different lines. I think he was on Viking 2 days ago. He's been on Royal before. This is his first time on Celebrity. So if you ever see on the schedule a polyglot singer, Yaniv Zarif, check him out. He was really great. But one of the things he mentioned during one of his shows, he said, my father has a falafel place in Boynton Beach, Florida. So if any of you are in Boynton, go see my dad. Well, we live right next to Boynton Beach. So the other night,
the falafel place we liked closed down like a year ago, and we still haven't found a good replacement. So we went over there.
So if you are in Boynton Beach, check out Falafel House, man. Fantastic. So that was great because we got to interact with this great performer on the ship as like a last minute addition. He had a really great show. He was a nice guy, chatted with him. And then he referred us to a great falafel place. You never know the wonderful things that you're going to discover on a cruise, even if it's a falafel place that's like more inland than you ever go at home. So that was neat.
Yeah, that was fun.
We had a lot of good experiences on that, and you can have those experiences with us on the next group or on any cruise we're on. We always love when someone stops us or plans the trip with us, surprises us on a trip, as Brandon and Kathy did. That was super
so
cool.
Awesome.
And now I just expect Brandon to show up on every cruise as some sort of surprise.
Actually, I think when we went into the martini bar on the Apex, I was like, "Is Brandon here?" Because that's where I saw him when he surprised us in Edge. So, but he wasn't.
All right. Well, we're coming up on 1 hour. Happy to answer any questions anyone has or any topics anyone wants to discuss. Our next cruise right now isn't scheduled until March 4th. Wonder of the Seas, brand new ship from Royal Caribbean. And I'll tell you what's going to be exciting for me about that is that's a ship that was designed for the Chinese market, but is for, as far as I know, an indeterminate amount of time, going to be sailing from the U.S. because just market conditions change, right? So it's going to be neat because she's a very different Oasis class ship. Has an enclosed solarium like on Odyssey. So I'm excited about that.
I like that.
But a lot of different things. Has a whole different neighborhood for suites, a lot of different venues on there, including a Southern cooking restaurant, which, man, I could talk just about why that's an interesting move. Not a bad move, but an interesting one
really
for a while. So very excited about that. So that's our next scheduled one, March 4th. Again, might be on at a different time than that. I'm still waiting to find out. We're going to be on Oasis of the Seas, 2 Royals back to back, maybe in April, just for a short sailing. I think it's a 3-nighter with Matt from Royal Caribbean Blog, and that'll be fun. So, but I keep thinking now we're talking about like Princess. Maybe we do a Princess in February. Who knows? And then we've got other fun stuff later in the year, including DCL, Scarlet Lady for the group cruise, Virgin Voyages groupcruise.com. But it is weird that we don't have anything for like usually we get off one ship and we're on another in a few weeks. Brenda, thanks for the chat. Thank you, Brenda, for hanging out. Thank you all for watching
for the great
questions. For the questions, for the comments, for even for those who made fun of me. Brandon.
Brendan's gone.
But he clearly comes back to watch the replay. What else could he do other than listen to my voice? Gonna have to come back for your next broadcast. Please do. We'll try. I'm trying to do more and more of these. Between cruises, just chats. Because I like talking ship with all of you, especially since we haven't been going to the port as much. Though I think it's time to restart going to the port. We got a lot of ships
really
out there
need
now.
to, and it's nice out now, so it's easier. Like it's not all hot.
So Brenda, if you're not familiar, make sure you also subscribe on YouTube. If you don't have an account, it takes 2 seconds. That way you're alerted when we go live on there, because sometimes we do broadcasts on there. But if you're not familiar, if anyone's not familiar, what we did for years was we went almost every weekend to Port Everglades and did live sail away broadcasts. Those the ships. We even talk about where they're going, information, new news related to those ships, stuff like that. And we show them up close. It's a lot of fun. That's how we got started in all of this. In fact,
and it was really Periscope. I really miss Periscope.
Enjoyed that. So I think we'll need to start doing that again, and where people can make fun of us if we go next weekend.
Where?
Is the cold, because what people don't realize is when you stand right on the coast and it's windy and humid and it's like 60 degrees, you get real cold when it gets dark. Even if you're from the Great White North, but everyone will make fun of me for that.
We're also kind of like not like the toughest people when it comes to
I am very
cold weather.
Very fragile.
So
Randy, hope we see you on Wonder as well. That would be wonderful. I will say I don't love the fact that it's called the Wonder. I don't like whenever a cruise line uses a name for a ship that's already been used by another cruise line recently. It gets me very confused because I keep saying the wrong name. But it would be wonderful to see you on Wonder of the Seas.
Of the Seas. You just have to say of the Seas, because then you know you're talking about Royal and not the Disney Wonder.
Of the Seas.
Wonder of the Seas.
Of the Seas. I'm just trying to drill in my head. Of the Seas.
Oh, Wonder of the Seas. Yeah. I was like, why did
Of the Seas. All right, guys. If any other questions come up, maybe in the replay or something pops in mind, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will ask you to stay for just 30 more seconds to go over a couple things going on. One, got a new video on YouTube about some recent announcements from Virgin Voyages. Some of you may find that interesting. There's also a couple fun things in there. It's a short video. I know mine go long sometimes. This one's short. Take like whatever it is, 6 minutes of your day. Check out our latest video over on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe while you're there. 2, there's a group cruise I already mentioned, Virgin Voyages groupcruise.com. Excuse me. 3, be sure you have your alerts set properly because we do want to start going back out to Port Everglades. And 4, reach out with your questions here on Facebook, Twitter, in the comments section on YouTube, or in the articles at cruisehabit.com. We've got the live blogs posted recently. We'll have some more cruise content for you, written cruise content coming up soon. I thank each and every one of you for joining us, whether you interacted or you just sat back and watched or maybe Googled and went, this guy's right some of the time. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we both look forward to talking ship with you again real soon.